Years ago, I used to wake up with pills beside my bed. Today, I wake up with gratitude and without any medication. For decades, I started each morning with a small ritual, turning off the alarm, staring at the ceiling, and reaching for the pill bottle on my nightstand. For blood pressure, for cholesterol, for sleep, for pain. In the end, it felt like I was taking more medicine than water. I felt tired even before getting up. But something changed. And no, it wasn't a miracle. It was a decision, a conscious choice, a new commitment to my body. Today, I am 87 years old, and I don't take a single pill, not one. My health is not perfect, but it is mine. My energy is not infinite, but it is real. And if you are here, watching this video, it's because maybe you are also tired of depending on medication to feel alive. And I want to be clear from the start. I'm not here to tell you to stop your medicines. That's something only you and your doctor can decide. But I am here to tell you what I did, and how, with just 4 morning habits, I managed to transform my body, my mind, and the way I age. In this video, you won't hear complicated theories or empty promises. What I'm going to share with you is simple. So simple, you might not believe it. 4 things. 4 small acts I repeat every morning. And that today, at 87 years old, are the reason I walk upright, sleep deeply, and no longer visit the pharmacy every week. You don't need money. You don't need equipment. You only need commitment and the will to change. So I invite you to stay with me. Listen to this story. It's not that of a guru nor of a doctor. It's the story of an older man who decided to live better and who discovered that sometimes what heals the most doesn't come in a box, but in a change of habit. And now tell me, before we continue, how old are you and where are you watching me from? Write it in the comments. I would love to know. Because no matter how old you are, you're always in time to do something for yourself. For years, I lived like many older people live today, following a routine that felt more like survival than life. I had hypertension. My knees creaked as if made of glass. I slept badly, woke up exhausted, and not a day passed without feeling stomach discomfort after eating. Doctors gave me technical names: osteoarthritis, chronic insomnia, reflux, metabolic syndrome. I didn't understand much, but I understood one thing. Every symptom came with a new pill, and every pill came with a new side effect. I had a little box with alarms, 7 pills a day, one for blood pressure in the morning, another for the stomach before meals, one for cholesterol at night, another to relax and be able to sleep. And so it went on and on. I became my own nurse. I made sure I never missed a dose, set alarms, noted schedules, kept prescriptions, until one day I realized I spent more time organizing my pills than enjoying life. Physically, I was slow, without energy. My body was like an old machine that kept working, but every day with more effort. I felt my body heavy, as if carrying an invisible backpack. Climbing stairs felt like an adventure, and not the good kind of adventure. Joint pain forced me to walk slowly, and more than once I had to sit down before finishing a lap around the park. But the hardest part wasn't physical. It was how I felt inside. I felt dependent, as if my well-being wasn't in my hands, but in someone else's prescription. I was dimmed, without spark, as if life was slowly slipping away from my hands, without warning. And though I smiled sometimes, inside, I had given up. There were days I asked myself, is this all? Is this how the rest of my life will be? Waiting for the next pill, the next medical check, the next symptom. I felt alive, but I wasn't living. And that for me was harder to accept than any diagnosis. Because living is not just breathing, it's having desire. It's feeling in control of your days. And I no longer felt that. But one day, something clicked. It wasn't a miracle. It was deep exhaustion, weariness, a voice inside that said, what if you try something different? What if you take back control? And so it all began. I remember the exact day I decided to change. It wasn't planned. It wasn't after reading a book or watching a TV show. It was simpler, more intimate, and at the same time, deeper. I had gone to visit an old friend from the neighborhood, Ernest. He was 88 years old, just 1 year older than me. I hadn't seen him in a while. I found him in his room, lying down, thin as a dry leaf, surrounded by pills, and with a look I didn't recognize. We stayed silent for a few minutes. Then he said something that left a mark on me. My body doesn't hurt. It hurts not to have lived more. I went home in silence. That night I looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize myself. Not because of the wrinkles or the white hair, I already knew those. It was the look, a mix of resignation, tiredness, and fear. Fear of becoming a shadow, of being alive without living. I sat on the bed and saw the pill box on my nightstand. 7 small capsules. And then I thought, what if I try something different, just for a week? 1 week without letting others decide for me. 1 week trying to listen to my body instead of silencing it with chemicals. It wasn't a medical decision. I wasn't going to throw anything away or disobey anyone. I just wanted to feel I had a voice, that I had a choice. And above all, I wanted to see if I could still have control of my life. The next day, I got up earlier. I didn't touch the pills. Instead, I went out to the balcony, felt the sun on my face, and breathed deeply. I sat down, closed my eyes, listened to my body. It wasn't strong, it wasn't agile, but it was there, asking for attention, not silence. That was my first act of rebellion, not against doctors, not against age, against the idea that after 70, all that's left is resignation. That week wasn't perfect. I had discomfort, doubts, temptations. But I also discovered something I didn't expect, that my body still had life, that my mind still had fire, and that I didn't want to reach 90 just existing. I wanted to laugh more, walk more, feel useful, light, present. And if that meant changing my habits, starting over, taking different steps, I was willing. I didn't know if it would work, but what I did know was that I no longer wanted to feel like a sick person who breathes out of obligation. The first thing I do every morning is not drink coffee. It's not look at my phone, not even get out of bed. It's breathe, but not like I used to. Now I breathe with intention, with awareness, with presence. For many years, I breathed without realizing it, like an automatic act, unconscious, until I discovered that the way we breathe has the power to change how we feel and how our body works. Yes, that simple and that deep. When I open my eyes every morning, I don't move right away. I stay lying down, close my eyes again, and for 5 minutes, I just breathe. I inhale through my nose, slowly, counting to 4. I feel the air come in, full, soft, as if filling me from the inside. Then, I hold the air for 2 seconds, and then I exhale slowly through my mouth, counting to 6. 4, 2, 6. That's all. And I repeat, one more time, and another, until I feel my mind has calmed, that my body has lowered its defenses, and that I am ready to start the day. This little ritual changed many things in me. First, my blood pressure. For years, I took medication for hypertension. I was always tense, rushed. Even though I no longer worked, my mind didn't stop. Deep breathing taught me to slow down, and over time, my pressure stabilized, so much that my doctor began to reduce my dose, until months later, I didn't need it anymore. Second, stress. Sometimes we think older people don't have stress, but we do. Worries about health, loneliness, money, memories, fears. Breathing consciously gave me a pause, a space just for me. No noise, no duties, just me, reminding myself I'm still here, I'm still alive. That little pause reminds me I'm still here. And third, my mind. My memory is no longer what it was, that's true. But since I practice this breathing every morning, I feel clearer, more attentive, less scattered. It's as if that calm on waking orders my day from the very first minute. And do you know what the nicest thing is? You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to know how to meditate. Nothing is needed but your breath and your desire to be present. At first, I felt strange. I thought, will this really work? But after a few days, I started to notice the changes. I slept better. I got up with less stiffness. And above all, I felt I was starting the day from within, not from noise. 5 minutes, just 5, every morning, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. After breathing, I do what many people my age have forgotten, or have been told is no longer necessary. I move my body every day, gently, slowly, with care. I don't lift weights. I don't run marathons. I don't do impossible poses. I walk, stretch, breathe while moving, and that, believe me, has been enough to transform my health. My routine is simple. It starts with a short walk of 20 minutes. Sometimes I go to the park, other times I walk through the hallway or around the yard. The important thing is not the distance. It's the act of moving, of activating circulation, of reminding my body it's not asleep. After walking, I sit in a firm chair without armrests. There, I do a series of very simple movements. I lift one leg, hold it for a few seconds, and lower it, then the other. I stretch my arms forward, make circles with my ankles, gently move my neck. They're exercises that don't tire, but do awaken. They don't leave me sweating, they leave me grateful. At first I felt some stiffness. My knees creaked, my ankles hurt, and my back felt like stone. But little by little, my body began to loosen, to adapt, to ask me for more. And then something unexpected happened. The pains disappeared. The ones I had in my knees, hips, lower back. I no longer needed painkillers to walk or sleep. I no longer got up from the chair as if carrying 20 more years on my back. All thanks to 20 minutes of daily attention. But not only that, my balance improved. Before, I would wobble getting up. Now I walk more firmly, more confidently. Even going downstairs, something that used to scare me. And most importantly, I regained confidence. Because every movement reminded me I still have power over my body, that I can still improve, that I can still move forward. They always told me, "You're not for moving so much anymore." And I answered them with a smile. I don't need to run, I just need not to stop. You see, moving isn't just for the young. Moving is for those who want to live with dignity, for those who want to bend down without fear, for those who want to dress themselves without help, for those who want to age, yes, but without giving up. Today, movement is my medicine. It's my way of thanking my body for everything it's done for me, and telling it, I still need you, we're not done yet. After moving, I don't rush to fill my plate, nor do I prepare a breakfast like before, with bread, butter, cold cuts, and strong coffee. Today, I eat breakfast as if every bite were medicine, because it is. For many years, my breakfast was quick, heavy, and full of sugar. And then I wondered why I felt so slow, so inflamed, so tired. Until one day I understood. The way I start my day inside defines how I feel outside. Now, my breakfast is simple but powerful. I start with a hot infusion. Not black tea, not coffee. A ginger and lemon infusion, or chamomile with turmeric. Something that wakes up my organs without attacking them. Something that warms my stomach, not agitates it. Then, a handful of nuts, almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds. Small, yes, but full of good fats, the ones that protect the heart and feed the brain. You don't need to eat much. You need to eat well. Then, a bit of soft protein. Sometimes it's a boiled egg, or some plain yogurt without sugar, or a few spoonfuls of oatmeal cooked with plant-based milk. Nothing fried, nothing heavy, nothing that makes me feel slow. And if I want something sweet, I choose fruit. A slice of papaya, some pieces of banana, half an apple, nothing more. Because I learned that the sugar from fruit, in its natural form, is enough. And do you know what I noticed with this change? My digestion improved. I no longer have that heaviness in my stomach. I don't feel bloated. I don't have gas. And most importantly, I go to the bathroom regularly, without laxatives or tricks. My energy also improved. Before, after breakfast, I felt sleepy. Now, I feel light, awake, ready to read, go out, or write. I don't eat to fill my stomach. I eat to fuel my day. And there's something else, something subtle, but powerful. This breakfast connects me with myself. It's not an automatic act. It's a moment of care. While I prepare my infusion, while I cut the fruit, while I chew calmly, I am present. I am with myself. Many people believe eating healthy is complicated, that you have to count calories, follow diets, weigh your food. I don't do any of that. I just listen to my body and feed it with respect. Because if there is something I value at this age, it's not depending on medicine to digest, to evacuate, to sleep, or to feel good. And my breakfast, every morning, reminds me that I don't need much to feel good. I just need to choose intentionally. I eat breakfast as if I were planting health, because that's exactly what I'm doing. After moving and eating, I go out to greet the sky. It doesn't matter if it's sunny, cloudy, or a little windy. I go out anyway. I sit in the garden, on the terrace, or simply by an open window. I close my eyes. I lift my face, and I let the daylight touch my skin. It's just 10 minutes, but those 10 minutes change everything. For a long time, I lived locked up, like many older people, between four walls, closed curtains, and artificial lights. And I wondered why I felt dimmed, without spirit, without sleep at night, without strength in the morning. Until one day I heard this phrase, "The body ages faster when it forgets the light." And I realized that's what was happening to me. So I decided to go out. Every morning, 10 minutes, just me, the sun, and the air. At first, it seemed like nothing, but soon I noticed the effects. My mood changed. Where there was apathy before, now there is energy. Where I found it hard to smile, now gratitude arises naturally. My nights improved. Where I struggled to sleep before, now sleep comes more easily. And not because I take something to sleep, but because my body understands it's daytime, and then that it's night. Thanks to the sun, my internal clock reset. I also noticed something many ignore. The sun feeds, not with calories, but with vitamin D. A vitamin many older people lose without knowing. And when it's missing, sadness, weakness, and fragile bones come. But if you go out into the sun for a while every morning, that vitamin comes back to you. Free, natural, powerful. And it's not just the sun. It's also contact with nature. Touching a plant, smelling a flower, feeling the breeze, watching a leaf move in the wind, hearing a bird sing in the distance. Small things, yes, but that awaken something deep. They remind us we are still alive, that we are part of something bigger. I have a pot of rosemary on my window. Every morning I touch it, smell it, and when I do, it's as if my day starts with a sacred gesture. I don't need a big garden. One plant is enough. One window, a bit of sky. Because if I learn something, it's that I don't need a pill to sleep if I go out to greet the sky every morning. Nature has a silent language, but if you listen, it heals you, it fills you, it balances you. Today, after so many years, I understood that living close to the sun, the green, and the air is one of the gentlest and deepest ways to stay young inside. And you, when was the last time you touched a plant or stayed still looking at the sky? Do it tomorrow, just 10 minutes, and you will see what happens. There's something they don't tell you when you start taking care of your health. It's not enough to add good habits. You also have to subtract bad ones. Health doesn't only come from what you do, also from what you stop doing. I didn't start feeling better just from what I added to my mornings, also from what I let go, from what I decided to leave behind. For example, I stopped sitting all day. Before, I could spend hours in front of the TV, and I told myself, I'm resting. But it wasn't rest, it was inactivity. My muscles atrophied, my legs lost strength, and the more I stayed still, the harder it was to move. Today, even if little, I move every day, and that changed everything. I also gave up excess sugar. For years, coffee with sugar, sweet cookies, desserts were part of my routine. but every spoonful hid inflammation, fatigue, and imbalance. It wasn't easy to stop, but once I managed it, I noticed how my mind cleared and my body stopped swelling. Another daily poison I eliminated: toxic news. I spent mornings watching news full of tragedies, conflicts, and fear, and without realizing it, I absorbed all that energy. It made me anxious, irritable, distrustful. One day I thought, what do I gain by filling myself with this? Since then, I turned off the TV, and peace returned to my head. I also stopped complaining. Yes, I had to train my mind. Before, I complained about everything: the weather, the pain, politicians, neighbors. And the more I complained, the smaller my world became. Until one day I made a radical decision: not to complain for 1 week. And I discovered that inner silence is worth more than 1,000 reasons to protest. And finally, I left behind negative thoughts. That voice that told me, "You're already old. This makes no sense. Why try?" Today, when that voice appears, I respond firmly: I'm alive, and as long as I'm alive, it's worth doing things right. Look, I'm not telling you all this was easy, but I am telling you it was necessary. There's no medicine that cures what you keep feeding every day. That's why, besides drinking infusions, moving my body, and taking care of what I eat, I also stop poisoning myself with what can't be seen, but can be felt. If you want to live better, don't only think about what you should do. Also ask yourself, what should I stop doing? Because sometimes letting go is the first step to healing. I didn't expect miracles. I just wanted to feel better. But what came next exceeded any expectation. My tests began to improve. The blood pressure, which before went up and down like an uncontrolled elevator, stabilized. My doctor, who for years adjusted my doses, was surprised. "Your levels are perfect," he told me one morning, raising an eyebrow. "What are you doing differently?" I told him everything. My routine, the infusions, the walks, the small decisions that, added up, had changed my life. It wasn't overnight, but little by little, my medications began to disappear. First one, then another, until the day came when I didn't need any. My body, after so many years of dependency, started to work on its own again. And it wasn't just physical. My energy changed. I no longer dragged myself in the mornings. I woke up with desire, with direction. My mobility improved. I climbed stairs without fear, walked more upright. My mind became clearer. I remembered more, focused better. And my mood, that was perhaps the biggest change. I laughed again. I joked again. I wanted again. My grandchildren began to notice. "Grandpa, you're different," they told me. And yes, I was. Because I didn't just recover my health, I recovered confidence. I was no longer the grandpa who needed care, but the one who inspired. I became an active part of my family again. My children no longer talked to me like I was sick, but like a wise, present, strong man. And perhaps the most important, I liked myself again. I looked in the mirror and said, "That's me." Not the young body I once had, not the strength of my 30s, but the essence, the spark, the man I always was. I didn't become young again, but I became myself again. And believe me, when you come back to yourself, life, even with wrinkles, feels more alive than ever. We have reached the end of this journey, and I want to leave you with something very clear. You don't need to be young to be well. You only need to start in the mornings. In my case, everything changed thanks to 4 things. Small, simple, powerful. First, a natural infusion that wakes my body, mind, and soul. Second, a walk in the sun that moves not only my legs, but also my thoughts. Third, a functional and light breakfast that nourishes without inflaming, that feeds without exhausting. And fourth, a moment of silence and gratitude where I reconnect with what I have and with who I am. They're not magic formulas. They're not laboratory secrets. They are habits. Small daily gestures that, added up, gave me back health, energy, and joy. And I tell you something from the heart. Don't wait for your body to scream to listen to it. Don't wait for illness to knock on the door to make a change. Because sometimes the real power lies in prevention, in care, in loving your body while it still responds. Try it, just for 1 week. Get up a little earlier, make an infusion, go for a walk, eat breakfast without rush, and give thanks. You don't need to change your life, just your mornings. And you will see how, little by little, mornings change your days, and days transform your life. Now I want to know about you. Do you do something for your health every morning? Have you stopped any medication? Do you have a habit that changed your life? Tell me in the comments. I would love to read you. Really. Reading your stories, your progress, your challenges, fills me with strength to keep sharing. And if this video helped you, if it gave you an idea, a seed, subscribe and activate the notification bell. We have much to share, and I would love for us to be together on this journey. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Maybe it's exactly what they are looking for. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me. And above all, thank you for choosing to take care of yourself. See you in the next video.